How is everybody doing today? All right, I'm trying to watch out for my grandkids because they outside. They supposed to be playing basketball, but they're going to be in the house in a minute if I got to keep going out there talking to them. I let them play because I can see them while I'm sitting at my desk. That's why I kind of got my little window half cracked or whatever. And I probably should spin around so I could actually be looking at them, but I didn't necessarily want to do that because I wanted, this to be the background for the most part. But anyway, I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I just wanted to tap in because it's been a minute since I actually, sat down and did a video or anything of that nature. It's just super hard doing what I do, how I do it every day, to sit down and, just have a chit chat, because it is very time consuming, especially being in the truck, to A, record a video, B, edit, and then, C, put it on YouTube. So I'm at home. I'm getting ready to head back on the road tomorrow, but I'm just sitting down here doing my laundry. I did a live earlier today for my boutique on my bag charms that I created. With everything that's going on, I had got away from things that make me happy, and most importantly, crafting. I've kind of been crafting for years, or been always crafty, and I stopped, doing the things that make me happy. So here in the last couple weeks, I went back to doing, just stuff that gives me peace. This kind of settles my mind, that I don't have to think about everything else that's going on. Okay, I see one of them. So one is there, the other ones ain't too far. Okay. So, yeah, that's what we've been up to. I started making bag charms. This is one of the ones that I did on live this morning. This is not like, my average bag charm or whatever. But, this is one that I did on live because I was trying to decide on how I wanted to create it. So we freestyled that one. And most of mine are all freestyled for the most part. I do have some other ones, like I did this one online as well. Should I say on live? I did the boat on live, and I had no idea on how I was going to make it happen, but we end up, doing what we had to do with it. So I was able to create the little bow. And since, inspired by Halloween, it has the little pumpkins on it or whatever, the little jack-o'-lantern. And then, I created the charm itself prior to, but I attached the bow to it because I had been, kind of filling the bows or whatever. So I made, these are the ones that I normally make. They're just plain. These are all the, this is another silver one. It is a beaded with the chain, a beaded chain with the a regular chain, and then it has a tassel and then a charm at the end with a keychain. So it's made to clip onto your bag or whatever, or I would prefer it not to be on your keychain, but you can put on your keys, just because this bead here is a little delicate. It's chain, so it can break easy, and it's a thin chain at that, because it's made to where the beads can go on it, just so I don't have to use the beading wire, because it's a little bit more product and a little bit more time that it takes to bead using wire, because I have to use more steps to be able to do it. That makes it a little easier, although I have to use bigger beads. But I use acrylic beads, so it's not as heavy as me using some of my glass beads and things of that nature. Anyway, okay. I ain't see them for a minute because they stay over there at the lady house because she be giving them treats and stuff. So, I got to keep peeking out. Ugh. Because I should send them in the back, but I think them that Joku or whatever the heck them spiders is then took over Georgia. So I need to probably go in the back and start, knocking down some spider webs, because I'm sure my whole backyard is probably full of them spider webs. But anyway, so yeah, that's what's been going on. I just been, getting back to things that make me happy or whatever it is. I did think about going back to school to finish, to get my degree in marketing. But I have some things going on right now, some debts that I need to take care of. And to me, that just wouldn't make any sense, because I'm giving up over $500 a month to secure, to pay off these debts. So I will prefer to wait until sometime next year to go back to school once I have, that debt taken care of. And then, you know, I can focus on that. That'll take a lot of extra weight off my shoulder. Then, of course, I just went and got a car because I needed another car. My truck was down. My Jeep was down or whatever. And it was just like, I need something. And even with them working, they were not as reliable as I would like them had been. So I went and got me a brand new, you know, vehicle just so I can make sure I always have reliable transportation here. Because, yeah, we always keep reliable transportation. And then, you know, for the last couple of years, I really didn't need a car that much because I wasn't home enough. And I'm still not. But when I come home, because for like 2 weeks, I hadn't even driven my personal vehicle that I got now. I haven't even driven it in 2 weeks. I went and got it and picked it up yesterday because it had been sitting at my terminal, my company's terminal, for the last 2 weeks. But I went and got it and brought it home because I was just going to the terminal, leaving my truck there, bringing my car home, and then, you know, going back and forth. But that was just too much. Like, I put 900 miles on my truck, on my car, brand new. When I first got it, I had 3 miles. I hadn't even been nowhere in the car, really, just some little errands around. And it was like, yeah, no. But right now I'm just doing my laundry, just so I can get ready to head back on the road tomorrow. And then I got to come back on Tuesday because I forgot about the early voting yesterday, and I had every intention on doing, but when I looked up, it was end of 7 o'clock. And I could have swore it was later, but they cut it off at 7. It was like 7:07 or something. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to even worry about doing none of that. I'm just going to take some time off and come back on Tuesday and vote, make sure I vote. So that was my bad because I had every intention on voting. But what had happened is once I had my daughter take me to go get my car, I should have went straight from there to go vote. But I was thinking like, well, you know, I seen her. I was like, well, let me just go home because I know the kids is about to get off the bus. And you know, she was behind me because I passed her and I didn't want, you know, them to be getting taken back to the school or nothing like that. So I was like, I'll just, you know, if she comes up behind me, cool, then I'll leave. But once I got here, my son was sitting down here. So I just came on, you know, to the house and started doing some other stuff. And then I started doing a live because I wanted to do some more charms or whatever. So I completed, you know, most of these ones that are on here on this side or whatever, plus a couple of the silver ones that I think the orange and a yellow or something like that I did yesterday. And then, of course, I got up this morning and I did a live. And I'm probably going to do one again once I get done with my laundry. But I wanted to make sure, you know, you can't be off the live too long because they be wanting to come kick you out. So I just was like, well, let me go ahead and take care of my business first. And then I needed to order my groceries and stuff like that. Normally, I just go on in there and get them. But this time, I went ahead and ordered them just so I could pick them up to make, you know, my time a little quicker because I just want to roll up in there, grab and go. But that's pretty much what's been going on for today. I know I'm rambling. And that's it. That's all. I did start a new business, of course. But I kind of, you know, I didn't step back because it's already done. But it's just as far as marketing, I kind of got, I wasn't as creative. So I had to step back. But, of course, I was posting multiple platforms for one business, and then my truck, trying to stay consistent with my trucking content, not so much on YouTube but on TikTok. And you know, because that's just a blend of everything that I do with my trucking fashion over there on TikTok. So it got a little bit truck craft and real estate. It got a little bit of everything on there because I really kind of consider that as my personal channel. So it's just a mixture of a little bit of everything, honey. It's a no niche, even though it's a niche type channel. So you can really kind of follow me over there if you like. But other than that, you know, I did start a new business, so that just got to be overwhelming. So that's why I was like, let me sit back because, you know, with trucking takes a lot out of you. And especially with like a regional based trucking, because the companies, they want you just to run all day. Like if you got 14 hours, they want you to spend most of your time. And I get it, like they paying you, but they really not. Like, you're only paying me when my wheels is turning. And I guess they feel like, you know, if they want to maximize all their profit. Like, I get, you know, the whole thing, but you're not going to run me down. I'm not no machine. I'm a human, and I'm only going to work as much as I really feel like working for that day. That's it. That's all, you know. And so they want to, you know, you know how it is. I don't need to come and tell you. You already know how it is. But I am wanting to transition out of trucking sooner than later. I feel like it's time. Like I have reached my, I have reached my max with trucking. It was never supposed to be a lifelong journey for me. Like I really got into it for what I got into it for. I'm not upset that I got into it or, whatever. I'm not, let me say, I don't regret getting into trucking because it was beneficial. But at this point in time, I'm not getting or, having the same or feeling that I once did before, which I never really was all that, impressed, but it was a means to an end for the most part. And, when I started the just trucking journey, I started off as an owner operator in the box truck game. And from there, we're talking with other truckers and things of that nature. I seen the benefit of having the CDL, and not even necessarily having the CDL, but, instead of doing box truck, going into 18-wheelers and big rigs. So I went ahead and jumped and pivoted into that. But my stance on that is that I wanted to know everything about the business before I put somebody else in the truck, just to make sure that nobody's trying to pull no fast ones on me or trying to say something, and because I have no idea, I don't have a way to verify it. So initially my plan was to go in, be a company driver for a little while to kind of learn the process, because I didn't want to being that I have no experience at all in the industry at all, other than what I had with the box truck. And even then I didn't have any experience. I was kind of just learning as I went. So, with that, I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get with a company, let them sponsor my CDL. I'm gonna work with them for about a year, learn the industry, and then go on from there. So with that being said, I have bypassed that year. I worked with Prime Inc. I got my CDL with them. It was a good experience or whatever. I was almost 48 states for the most part. Traveled, was out on the road however long, sometimes 2 months, a month, or whatever it is, and I'll come home and spend my day. I started out as a company driver because of the time frames that I needed. I was opening back up my store. And with you being a company driver, they want you to take, if you out 4 weeks, they only want to give you 4 days, meaning that you didn't been out for a whole month for the most part. And that wasn't feasible for me. If I need 7 days, you're going to give me 7 days. You're not going to give me no, you know what I'm saying? No static about how much time I need to take off. Being that I'm out, I guess they wanted you to rush everything that you needed to do, like you didn't have no other life outside of running a truck. And, no. And I'm all the way out here and there and everywhere. So if I need 7 days, I'm going to take 7 days. And so I end up transitioning from their company driving into the lease program, or their lease, not purchase, but just lease program. And I never was a fan of the lease program ever, but it allowed me the flexibility and the freedom to be able to take as much time off, although I still had that lease payment regardless, but of course you make more money to a certain extent. So, I did that up until, my year to the date was up, and I got on down the road. And I didn't plan on going back into trucking, because I came home, and then a couple of days later I signed up for my real estate class, and then I went and completed that and got my real estate license. And it was, of course, an accelerated program, so I might have been home for like 3 or 4 days, maybe we'll just say a week. Hopped into the real estate program and did that for like 2 weeks and got my real estate license after that. Like literally bam, bam, bam. I didn't give no time to be able to rest or anything. I went directly in to get my real estate license, and that part was hard just because of the fact that I'm so used to my schedule was kind of all over the place, to having a consistent 8 to 5 or whatever. That was hard, and then having to come home and study. That was, difficult, because it does take a lot out of you. And then I went right after I passed the school's portion of the exam to give you the ability to take the state exam. That next week, I think I took it on, let's say, a Friday or something of that. Let's say I took the school's exam on Friday. On Monday, I was taking the state exam, or, you know, something of that nature. It was real quick because I didn't want to lose no information. And so I went into the state exam, passed that, and then, you know, kind of transitioned into trying to, you know, navigate doing that. But of course, you know, being a real estate agent, you really kind of have to build your book of business and things of that nature. So you need income. And unfortunately, I'm not married or anything of that nature, and there was no other income coming in my house other than what was my store. And I had somebody, you know, in there while I was on the road, and they really wasn't running, you know, things the way I needed it to be ran. So of course I was losing money on the, you know, back end, but everything kind of was a wash because I was making so much money trucking, and then, you know, the other things that was coming in trickling down from the store. But once I kind of cut that trucking income, and then I seen, you know, kind of really what was going on in the store, I was just like, whoa, okay. So I'm still able to, you know, maintain, but I still needed to add a little bit more, because now I have to transition from the person being in the store to me being, you know, taking over and doing everything that I needed to do from that aspect. And then I seen like the people I was renting the Kanye store from, I'm not going to, you know, say nothing negative or anything about them, but I just didn't trust them because I caught her in too many lies, where she could have just really just told the truth. It was just like, are you scared? Just say what it is. And so, you know, I felt like she probably had an offer that she wanted to go with more. So this, the whole process of even that, I was just over and done with. Like, I was over and done with dealing with her more so. Like, I wouldn't have minded if I would have owned the store outright. I would still be there. But being that I didn't, it was just like, I don't want to deal with landlords type stuff no more. Like, period. I'm not a landlord type of girly. I'm not. I own my home. I own my store down in Fort Valley. I would do the Fort Valley store, but of course my home, my personal home in Fort Valley is 2 hours away. So that's not going to be conducive to, you know, every day back and forth. I would literally have to, you know, either find me a location here, which is probably going to be a lot more expensive than what I did in Fort Valley. And then quite naturally, I have to go in and do a whole renovation in Fort Valley. And I don't want to live out there at all. Like, it's cool, but no. I need like certain city accommodations that Fort Valley doesn't have, and it's just a no for me when it comes to that. So it really just is kind of just sitting there, because when I don't even have the time to even really be able to go out there to do anything to it, and it's too, the financial part, I'm not there at that moment now. Hold on, guys. Anywho, so with that being said, I end up, my lease was up in August or whatever, and I end up not wanting to, I just didn't even want to renew the lease. I thought about it and I thought about it, and I, you know, went back and forth or whatever, because I really did enjoy the area that I was in when it came to the Conyers area. And if I could, I would go back to that area. I just would not deal with that. Like, I really would prefer to purchase my own. Anywho, so I end up going, you know, working with JB Hunt in their intermodal division. I'm not going to say it's the best thing that I did, because it really wasn't. But, you know, at the time, I didn't have any store income at the time, because I decided to go ahead and let the store go. And online wasn't as, you know, jumping as it once was or whatever. So it wasn't like it was going to really be able to cover all my bills when I was making, you know, over, you know, $10,000 to $15,000 a month to making a lot less than that. So my bills were kind of in the middle, or I wasn't necessarily spending all my income, but they were more than what I was making at the time. So I went ahead and went with JB Hunt. And of course, worked there for almost a year, then left, went to Martin, never again. And then I came back because I'm like, I kind of already know how, their vibe is. I already know, what to expect with them to a certain extent. And not that I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with the company or whatever. You have to find a company that works for you. I was just never really a company person, and I kind of got stuck in doing a company thing when that was never my goal from the jump. My goal was to go to learn, not to sit there and work. And I think I've already surpassed that kind of when I went with Prime and maybe that first year with JB Hunt, because that was something new. I was doing intermodal versus reefer, so that was kind of me showing me how to operate in the rail yard, because I didn't even really realize that even existed, to be honest with you. I don't know what I was thinking, but I knew that we had like what do you call it? I know they had like rail, but I was thinking more like the shipping containers and things of that nature, not necessarily actual train. So I don't know why I didn't make that correlation. And just so happened one day I was out doing, what do you call it? Amazon Flex. And I just seen a whole bunch of trucks coming from this one way, and I was like, what the hell is they doing over there? Because for whatever reason, I had that route or going that way a couple times, and I was like, and I seen JB Hunt on the truck. So I was like, I'm gonna go in there and see what they talking about. So of course I went in, pulled it up, end up, they had a regional position. I never really wanted to be regional, and that's the thing. My thing with JB Hunt is because they only offer regional. And then they were like, oh, well, you could transfer into another position, doing local or whatever after 3 months. So I did the 3 months, put my name in the hat or whatever. And they never they never called me for a local position. So at that point I was like, what is the purpose? Y'all pretty much lying. But I'm seeing people getting hired on as local, but the people that you already have on, you're overlooking them. That's happened to me again this time recently. I did a local position. It was supposed to be a 1-to-1. That was sometime in March. It's November. Still haven't heard nothing from them, but of course I still see them hiring every day. It was another position that they had for a staple position. When I applied for it, it was never anything about a waiting list or whatever. It was a apply. Like sometimes they'll have put your name on the waiting list and then they have to apply. So when the person called me and she was like, yeah, well, this is, we only got one position, and your name is on a waiting list. And I'm like, waiting list? Like, it didn't tell me anything about being on a waiting list, because if that's the case, I never would have applied, because I don't want to sit here for 2 years trying to wait to get a job that obviously y'all don't have positions to hire. So my whole thing was like, why would you even open up a position if you don't even have the position? Like, that makes no sense to me, and think somebody's gonna sit here and wait. So, that just left a kind of sour taste in my mouth. Was just kind of one of the reasons. It was some other things that made me leave the first time, but that was just like, okay, cool. I don't play with people, and I ain't asking, I'm not begging nobody for nothing. So it's cool, whatever. But like I said, I never was a company type person. Like, I've always had my own thing going on. So, to be sitting here like now going on 2 years, it's starting to cause me to feel some type of way, so it's just like, okay, you need to get yourself back in order now. Stop playing. So now that's why I kind of went back into just decompressing and letting my mind be a little bit more creative, because now I'm running for them, and I don't want to necessarily do that, because that was never the goal for me. My goal was to learn what I needed to learn, and then get the hell on and decide if I wanted to do it for myself or not. I'm not in love with trucking. Like, that's not something that I always wanted to do since I was a kid or nothing like that. Like, no. I have, other skills or whatever, and now it's kind of like I'm in the situation where I kind of have to do it for now, because everything that's going on in the world and this, that, and the third. And so, retail businesses are closing left and right. Things that's been open for years and years and years. And just the landscape of entrepreneurship is starting to look different. So, yeah, that's where we at with it now. So I'm just, in a weird space. But anyway, I did open up a new business, like a sister company to my Pure Chic Boutique. So now I also do curated bundles where I take a style and I curate it all together. So it'd be your outfit, your handbag, your accessories, and I bundle it together for you. So it's more kind of like, a gift site, one-stop shop type thing. Is called the Baddie Bundle. So it's it's good for either people who struggle with putting outfits together, or somebody who is looking to purchase a gift for somebody that doesn't necessarily want to go through the whole process. It's already put together for you. So I created that, which is kind of like I said, a sister company to, or not even a sister company, but you know what I mean, to Pure Chic. And so you can buy the single items on Pure Chic, or it's a bundle set. You don't get to pick anything about it. It's already kind of put together for, whatever outfits that I drop for that duration. So whether it be summer, fall, spring, or winter, or whatever it is. So I have, a curated collection that I set for the summer. Then I did one for fall. And then, winter is pretty much going to be the same. And then I'll do one for spring. And the first drop I did, I think it was like 12 items. The fall one was, I'm not for sure, maybe, I don't remember, maybe 5 or 6. So, and I was going to take off the summer items that I put on there. But I do realize that not everybody has the same seasons. If you're in the South or further, you might not be in the same weather predicaments as the people up north or in the Midwest or whatever it is. So like Florida, you can probably wear shorts all year round. So, you don't necessarily need a sweater. Whereas up north, you might need a sweater. So that's why I kind of just kept some of the summer stuff that's on there still, just still in rotation or whatever. Otherwise, I was thinking about just moving it on off the site. And then now I'm transitioning Pure Chic from one web host to the next web host. So it's just a lot going on for a sister right now. Like, I do have a lot going on. So this is pretty much my life, rebuilding my life from this, cab, from the back of my cab, while I'm trying to transition out of trucking. So that's where we're at with it now. And I just wanted to, just to tap in, because I haven't tapped in months, just to say, what's up? This is what we got going on. Kind of explain, where we at with it, everything that's been going on in life. Because I don't know if I've actually had a sit down to where I can, just kind of sit down and chit chat and let you guys know what's going on. So that's where we're at with it. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any trucking content like that. I might, but it's a lot. And right now, mentally, I don't think I'm in that space to where I want to really do that right now. So you might get me, a sit down video here and there while I'm at the house or whatever, but you won't see me doing that every day. So anyway, you guys, I just been rambling enough, but I did want to come in and say, what's up? Let y'all know what's going on. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and drop the link. Check out Pure Chic Fashion, Pure Chic Boutique. Well, it's not Pure Chic Boutique. It's purechic.com. The Baddie Bundle. You can also check me out and what I'm doing if you want to stay connected on a an everyday basis for the most part. You can run on over there to my TikTok, or check out my Instagram, the trucking fashion, Pure Chic, or the Baddie Bundle, all 3. Or just go ahead and follow all 3 of the pages. I would appreciate it. Until next time.